enjoyed when we worked in a team, because then you felt like you weren't in it alone. And you know, even if it was a hard project, at least you had other people who could commiserate with you. You know, at different times, people could take over as being the energy of the team. But hopefully, yes, by working in a team, you divide it up. It's not as much as one person alone. Anything else?
Meeting people.
Yeah! Oh, that's a great one, yes. I'm surprised that was not one of the first ones, but isn't it so nice to meet other new people? Because just think about it this way. Something that, I don't know if you've experienced this yet, but please note that this is one of the only times in your life where you're going to have so many people with similar interests or career goals and similar age around you so much of the time. So it's really good to meet so many new people, because you never know if these are going to be the people that you work with at some company, or they help you get a job down the line, or it's somebody that you keep in contact with just to bounce ideas off of later on. So this is a really unique time in your life. So try to meet as many people as you can. Because otherwise, what happens when we're done with school? We go back to our lives, right? We see the same neighbors, or we have that same group of friends. We're not exposed to all these people all the time. So please take advantage of it. I wish I was back in school for that very reason, because I would have definitely done it a lot differently. I would have gone to every single networking event that I could have. The other thing too is, you know, when we have all of this change that we're going to see with AI, the more that we know other people and can figure out new and different types of jobs, we're going to need to count on one another, especially for ideas on the different types of jobs that we can create for ourselves. So you never know when you're going to need the rest of the people in your class, just saying. So those are really, really great examples of why it's great to work in teams. Now, I'm sure you probably have not had good experiences as well. So what are some things that we want to avoid when working in teams so that our team is successful? So what are some things that you would like to not see? I know one of it is, please don't ghost your team members. If they've got questions or they don't understand when you're meeting and where, please answer them. Yes?
Caring.
Yes, caring. So definitely, please care about your team members. It does matter.
I meant like caring your teammates.
Oh, caring. Oh, I see.
Everything.
You're doing all the work. Yeah, that sucks, doesn't it? So we are going to try to avoid that at all possible. Does anybody know what that's called? There is a term for it. You know, a lot of people at different times in their life are guilty of it, but it's called social loafing, where you're counting on your team to carry you. You're trying to do the bare minimum and see who else will step up and see what work you don't have to do. But please note that you're going to want to try to avoid that behavior at all costs, because why?
No one wants you.
Yeah, no one's going to watch you on the team. Any other reasons why you want to stop doing that?
You might get in trouble.
Yes, you will get in trouble. You won't get promotions. People in their reviews, they won't want to work with you. Your boss won't give you a very good review if they notice that. Also, AI is going to be tracking more and more of your productivity. So it's going to be able to tell and be able to measure whether or not you're loafing and other people are carrying you. So just a word to the wise, you won't be able to get away with it as easily as you might in school. So do be careful. Other things that you want to avoid so that your team is successful.
Communication problems.
Yeah. So you want to make sure that you reply in a timely manner to your team members. Another good one might be that you all are very clear about what communication platform you are using. I am giving you one, so you you will want to use Teams because that's something that everybody has available to them and there's no misunderstandings. If you do decide to use something else besides Teams, make sure that everybody's aware of it. Everybody's included. Don't have separate chats for some people and then others are not included. You want to make sure that you respond to your team members quickly. When do you think is a good turnaround time for responding to your team members?
Thursday, Tuesday. Oh, Tuesday.
Yeah, so definitely during class time, designated class time, you gotta be making sure you're checking those messages. Anything else? Yes.
I guess maybe about to do it later today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think you had an idea, maybe? Did you have an idea? Oh, I thought you were raising your hand. Okay. What do you think? What do you think is respectful of your team members? What would you like to receive a reply? If you were trying to find out information from your team members, what would you like?
Within an hour.
Oh, an hour? Ooh, that's really quick. Anybody else? What expectations do you have?
That's kind of good.
What did you say?
If you were to communicate with your team members, you genuinely had a question and needed some help on something, what do you all think is an appropriate response time for getting back to your team members?
Daytime, definitely not nighttime.
Okay? So you'll want to be respectful of their nighttime activities.
Definitely not when they're like working or something.
Yeah.
Other times of when they're not available.
Yeah. So that's something you're going to want to talk about in your teams. Like, who has commitments at night that prevent them from answering messages? Maybe someone has family or has a night shift. You want to talk about your expectations and communication. But a good rule of thumb is that you don't want, especially if you're working in a team for projects, you don't want to really wait longer than 24 hours. Ideally, if you can get back to them much sooner than that would be better, especially if it's something that it's time sensitive. But you should be paying attention to your team members. Anything else? What are some other things that might hinder your success as a team? Anything else that might have happened to you in other courses, other experiences? What are some things we want to avoid? So we talked about you don't want to be a social loafer, you don't want to have only a few people carrying the entire load. You want to make sure you set those communication expectations, you're consistent in your platforms that you use, know people's schedules. Anything else?
Dealing with conflict appropriately, I guess.
Ooh, interesting. Tell me more.
So, depends on how like intense it is, but if it's like they're not like being a team member at all or stuff like that, maybe try to like maybe limit their access. We'll first talk to like an instructor, but if they're like not being a team member at all,
Okay.
maybe try to limit their access or force them. First talk to them,
Okay.
and if they like still aren't doing anything, maybe try to like step it up gradually.
Okay. Yeah, so if you have a conflict, you should always give other people the benefit of the doubt, right? There might be something that you don't know that's happening with them. Maybe they had a family emergency. Maybe their car broke down. Maybe there was a legitimate reason for why they couldn't communicate with their team. Or the other possibility is that they have no idea that there's a problem. It could be simply they might be doing some behavior that they don't realize is affecting the team functioning. So you want to give people the benefit of the doubt. You always want to, ask questions, find out what's going on with them. Tell them about the behavior that you observe. You don't want to be, certainly very aggressive. You want to be on an information finding session first to see where the miscommunication came up. We're gonna be talking a little bit later about different team dynamics. So keep this in mind, but your one very important thing that we're gonna be doing shortly is you wanna make sure that you find team members that are on the same page as you. So when you're gonna be gathering together, figuring out who's gonna be on your team, you're gonna wanna think about, what might people's idea or expectations be about working in a team? What are their schedules like? What do you perceive as their work ethic? So do try to ask some good questions of people to figure out who is gonna be able to function with you on a team successfully. You might wanna ask about different experiences on different teams. Do you have similar project interests? So all of these things are gonna help you in having a successful team if you can start off on a very similar page. And have very styles that are compatible with what you get done. So I want you to think about, we're gonna be thinking about how would we find some good team members and go around and get to know one another. So I'm curious from you all, what are some interesting icebreaker questions that you want to find out about each other? How are you gonna break the ice? What's your favorite icebreaker questions? What would you want to know about other people?
What made you decide your major?
Okay. Alright. So obviously you're gonna ask about your major. Okay. Anything else?
AI.
What would you ask about AI? How much you use it?
If you're on board or not.
Oh, okay. If you use it at all. How many of you don't use AI? Is anybody willing to admit? No one's gonna admit. Okay. We have a lot of students that actually are very anti-AI. So we have both sides of the argument with our students at USI. Any other questions you might want to ask as an icebreaker of other people? Yes, sir.
Where are you from?
Okay. So, just a little bit details about your background. Anything else?
Your personal hobbies?
Oh, okay. So we got hobbies. Anything else that comes to mind? So this is something, just a little hint here. I encourage you to always have quite a few icebreaker questions up your sleeves. Because you never know when you might encounter a really good networking event. So you're gonna wanna have some interesting questions that you ask other people to get to know them. And so a little bit of intrigue that's always, created is if you have a very interesting question that maybe besides the standard, what do you do for a living? You come here often, those kind of things. So, just throwing that out there because, as you might have guessed, I'm a big, big fan of networking and getting to know others. Anything else you think might be super interesting to ask people of your own age? Okay, looks like online folks also came up with hobbies. Anything else?
Experience with math?
Ooh, okay. Alright, so math experience. Alright, so you be thinking about it. So we got some different good categories, so thanks for those that contributed. Here are some if you would like to borrow some. I have some different icebreakers on here if you'd like to use some of those. But so I would say throw out some interesting questions to your fellow classmates. So One that's always fun is food and restaurants. Like you said, hobbies. But try to think of some ones that are kind of a little fun to think about. So I have some ideas here, but we also have the ones that you came up with. So I will broadcast both of those up here on the screen. But online folks, we are going to send you into your breakout rooms, and you're going to get to know people in the online section. So hopefully I've got you thinking about some icebreaker questions that you might want to ask one another. So you are going to be thrown into your first breakout room. So are you ready, online students? Because here we go. We're going to get you into your breakout room. All right. So let's do it. All right, here you go, online students. Hope you were thinking about some icebreaker questions, because here we go. Alright, they are off and moving. Okay, so in class, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to get you warmed up. I'm going to have you do a little surprise that you will show the online students a little later. But you are first going to get into pairs of students. So you're going to find someone else to pair up with. And for your activity, you are going to come up with a cool handshake that's only for people in the linear systems class.
What?
So you're going to have to come up with a couple moves where, if you greet each other that way, or in linear systems together. So if you, like, for instance, if you two pair, you're going to think of some cool handshake moves when you greet your fellow linear system person. So I'm going to go ahead and have you all find a partner to come up with your